As a kid growing up in the 90s and like many fans of both the King Kong and Godzilla franchises, I often wondered if we would ever see these two iconic kaiju go head to head once again after the 1962 film. Back in the 1960s, Toho was looking to produce a sequel called Continuation King Kong vs Godzilla, where Godzilla's body would have been salvaged from the ocean and displayed in a resort, giving an answer to who won the original fight. King Kong would be found in Africa looking after a baby who survived a plane crash, and after a group of people rescue the baby and take it to Japan, Kong would go on a rampage across the country looking for the infant. Naturally, Godzilla is then revived to stop Kong, and the film would end with both of them falling into a volcano whilst fighting. The project was ultimately cancelled and the two characters would not meet again on the big screen, despite both franchises continuing throughout the following decades. So as one could imagine, hearing in 2015 that Warner Bros. Pictures were planning to redo the fight as part of their Monsterverse series, I was insanely hyped but cautiously optimistic as to whether they could actually pull it off. Although it is still surprising to me even to this day that a rematch had not happened sooner in some form or another, outside parodies.
No hitting below the belt. Obey my commands at all times, and absolutely no touching of each other's buttocks. Any question?
But this news in 2015 got me pumped. I mean, it was still a long way off at the time and it all hinged on the success of the previous movies, but hearing that a remake of Godzilla vs Kong was in the works just blew my mind. Adam Wingard was placed in the directing chair for the fourth Monsterverse installment, and it's interesting to think that he was once approached by Peter Jackson to direct a World War I prequel to the 2005 King Kong, but the studio turned that idea down and nothing came of it. A shame, because that sounds so kick-ass. Wingard would later go on record saying that in his version of King Kong vs Godzilla, he would make sure that there was a definitive winner, to not repeat the kind of anticlimactic ending of the 62 film. So, theories and speculation went through the roof as to what could go down in this new movie. I had my own theory on this, but more on that in a second. Anyway, back to the build up to the new film. I would try and picture what it might look like. What scenarios could we see that lead these two titans to clash? What would the plot entail for the human characters? And even after seeing the previous 3 Monsterverse entries that set up the world for the fight to take place, I was still left guessing, something that I really appreciated. I personally stayed away from most of the marketing for the film, as I wanted to let the final film speak for itself, although I was swept up with the whole hashtag Team Godzilla and hashtag Team Kong marketing on social media, opting to side with Team Kong, which tied to my theory. Let's get into that. My theory was centered around Kong being only referred to as Kong in the Monsterverse movies. I speculated that in order for him to become King Kong, he would have to dethrone the King of the Monsters, a title Godzilla acquired in the previous movie, aptly titled Godzilla King of the Monsters. But sadly, this theory was not to be. I get the sense the rights to use the full name King Kong sits with Universal, so in this new series of movies, the closest we got to this line was from Kong Skull Island.
That's Kong. He's king around here. Kong's a pretty good king. Keeps to himself mostly.
Originally set for a November 2020 release, Godzilla vs Kong was pushed back 5 months to March 2021 due to an overturned chicken truck. It was a shame to miss getting the cinema experience and be forced to stream it at home on HBO Max, but I made do with what I got. So on opening night, I pushed our sofa close to the TV to emulate the cinema experience, grabbed a box of popcorn and settled in to experience this long-awaited and highly anticipated movie. And boy, did it not disappoint. The story focuses on 2 teams of characters who eventually meet up at the end for the final showdown. On Godzilla's side, we follow Madison Russell from Godzilla King of the Monsters and 2 others who are convinced Godzilla is rampaging against the humans for some unseen reason, and not just because he suddenly wants humans dead. And another team of humans led by Dr. Nathan Lind, who is tasked with taking Kong inside the dangerous hollow Earth in order for Kong to lead them to a power source. This expedition is funded by Walter Simmons, who owns the company Apex Cybernetics. He holds a secret agenda to take a sample of this power source to help charge up Mechagodzilla, which he plans to use to kill all other monsters, or titans, to become, well, the Apex. This is revealed to be the reason for Godzilla's sudden rampage. However, Kong and Godzilla do not like each other one bit, and during the events of the film, Godzilla hunts down Kong to put him in his place, and Kong defends himself from the sensitive lizard. It all ends in an epic battle between Kong, Godzilla and Mechagodzilla in the middle of a neon-splattered Hong Kong. This movie is insane in the best way possible, and given its roots, it's no surprise. It's like watching a mega blockbuster version of the old Godzilla movies like Godzilla vs Megalon or 1993's Godzilla vs Mechagodzilla 2, and much like what I said about Kong Skull Island, it takes the gritty, somewhat grounded setup Gareth Edwards introduced and completely throws that away. Some people didn't like this approach, but I absolutely loved it, because what the Monsterverse had successfully recreated was how the old Godzilla films were made, when the first film was this hard-hitting, grounded story, having all the characters taking the situation super seriously, but the sequels are batshit insane and just revel in the absurdity. I mean, who would have thought that giant insectoid aliens resembling cockroaches from the dying planet M Space Hunter Nebula would technically be in the same canon to the original Godzilla, or that a giant robot Godzilla would be walking around in a skin suit like the Terminator built by alien monkeys. They were having fun with the premise of giant monsters duking it out and doing whatever to tell those stories, and Godzilla vs Kong is no different in that regard. I thought the human characters were fun for what they were supposed to do. Kong's team of humans were far more interesting though, and likeable. However, after learning about how much this film was edited down, I feel the team of humans on Godzilla's side got the short end of the stick. But hey, this really is Kong's film more than Godzilla's, despite Godzilla getting the top bill in the title. We follow Kong's character more and see how this titan learns he was never destined to be King Kong on the surface, but King Kong of the Hollow Earth. I mean, they even give him a huge throne and axe to emphasize the kingness of this giant ape. It's just ridiculous and simultaneously ridiculously cool. So Kong and Godzilla fight 3 rounds in this movie, with round 1 taking place in the ocean, whereabouts Godzilla beats Kong by almost drowning him, although Kong plays defeated to convince the dumb lizard that he's won. Rounds 2 and 3 take place in Hong Kong, with Kong using his big ape brains to outsmart Godzilla and avoid his atomic breath in order to give Godzilla what for. It was so much fun to see when he smashed that axe right in Godzilla's face. Anyway, in order to balance the fight though between these two iconic characters, the filmmakers made sure to add a line of dialogue here where Nathan Lin proclaims,
"Looks like round 2 goes to Kong."
Much like a boxing match. With 1 round each under their belts, it was then all to play for in round 3. Now, obviously, Godzilla is more powerful than Kong, so he kicks the living crap out of Kong, essentially killing him to make sure everyone knows who's top dog, or, you know, top sensitive lizard in this case. At this point, all hope seems lost, but when Mechagodzilla breaks free of the Apex Cybernetics complex and kicks Godzilla's butt, it's down to Kong to return from the dead to save the day. I don't want to go into all the specifics of the fight, I mean there's just too many awesome things to talk about, but it's safe to say that I think this film did a wonderful job of balancing what fans of both these characters expect to see from them and handled the moment Godzilla won very well. The film didn't overstay its welcome with its runtime, it was paced very well. The visuals were outstanding and surreal at times, with some really unexpected moments that, for this fan at least, I never thought I would see done this well and on this scale. If this is where the Monsterverse ends, I'll be happy. There has been rumours that they might continue it on, but I think they've hit the nail on the head with these 4 movies and should quit whilst they're ahead. Godzilla vs Kong gets 2 Kong-sized thumbs up from me, and if you want to hear more of my thoughts on this movie in more detail, there is a video on this channel where I discussed my thoughts on it after seeing it for the first time. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video and this journey through the history of King Kong movies with my Skull Island Files videos. It's been really fun to do this. I know it's taken a while for this last one to be made, But here we are, we finally got there, and yeah, I hope you're all doing well out there. Goodbye.